The JDRF Palmetto chapter is here today at the State House. We are here for World Diabetes Day. We're very excited that Governor Haley is issuing a proclamation declaring World Diabetes Day here in the state of South Carolina. We are very appreciative of her leadership role to step up and talk about the deep impact that both type 1 and type 2 diabetes has in our state. We're hoping that any media coverage or social media coverage that we can get about this day will just open up conversations to educate people about the signs and symptoms of all forms of diabetes, and also to dispel the myths and misconceptions that surround diabetes. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that a governor of our state has declared or issued a proclamation in observance of World Diabetes Day. It's great significance to this day. It was on this day in 1922. Actually, it's the birthday of Dr. Banning, Dr. Joseph Banning, who discovered insulin. And we are grateful as parents and people living with type 1 for that discovery, because prior to the discovery of insulin, diabetes was a death sentence. All month long, there are different activities going on all around the world to raise awareness of diabetes. The entire month, November, is National Diabetes Awareness Month. And today, there will be monuments and important buildings all over the world, including our own governor's mansion, will be lit blue during the evening hours to raise awareness. I became active in the JDRF Palmetto chapter just a little over 5 years ago. My 12-year-old daughter, who was 7 at the time, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and it was a very shocking and sudden diagnosis. And prior to that, I knew very little about diabetes and honestly didn't think it was very serious. But I have learned a lot in those 5 years. And now that I know how important it is to tell others and raise awareness. I would love to add, Henry, I'm so glad you asked, everybody can help out. And the very best way to help out is to go to www.jdrf.org/advocacy and register to be a voice for all people living with type 1 diabetes. This keeps the importance of funding research before our members of Congress.
Welcome everybody. You know, this is a really important day for us. This means a lot to us that we all take the time to be here, but we also want to educate everyone, and we think this is a great opportunity to educate South Carolina and let them know. And so we've got a proclamation that says, whereas between 25 and 50% of the people with diabetes do not know they have this disease, which left undiagnosed and untreated can cause serious and costly complications, including heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, blindness, and lower limb amputation. And whereas treatments used to manage diabetes, including maintaining a healthy weight through diet and exercise, have also been shown to help prevent the development of the disease, and whereas World Diabetes Day raises awareness of the importance of prevention, diagnosis, and management of diabetes in the Palmetto State, now therefore I, Nikki R. Haley, Governor of the great state of South Carolina, do hereby proclaim November 14th, 2013 as World Diabetes Day throughout the state, and encourage all South Carolinians to learn more about diabetes and its warning signs and make healthy choices in order to manage or help reduce their risk of developing this disease.
I don't You have type 1 diabetes, so what's a typical day like for you?
Well, you wake up, you check your sugar, you eat breakfast, and you have to get a shot. And then sometimes you eat a snack, and you have to get a shot for that. And then at lunch, you check your sugar and get a shot. And then at dinner, you check your sugar and get a shot. And then you get an extra shot that's Lantus every day.
And how do you check your sugar? What do you have to do?
You have to prick your finger and then get some blood and wipe it off, and then get some more and then put it on the test strip.
And when you're checking your sugar, what is it supposed to tell you? What are the numbers?
100 to about 200.
100 to 200? Okay. And then what does today mean for you, the governor recognizing World Diabetes
It's
Day?
pretty amazing.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. You have type 1 diabetes, right?
Yes, sir.
And what's a typical day like having diabetes for you?
Checking my blood sugar, getting shots.
How do you check your blood sugar?
You prick your finger and put it in a little meter.
That's pretty brave. How many times a day do you think you have to prick your finger?
At least 9 times.
At least 9 times a day? Wow, and how many times do you think you have to give yourself a shot?
At least 9 times too.
So a lot of times having to prick your finger and give yourself a shot. How fun was it for you to meet the governor and for her to recognize the disease that you have?
Pretty fun.
Pretty fun?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sam. Having diabetes? What do you have to do?
Shots.
Shots? What do you have to give yourself a shot of? Do you remember what it's called? Is it insulin? Can you say insulin?
Insulin.
Insulin? That's very brave of you. How old are you?
4.
You're 4 years old? That's really brave of you. Thank you, Sierra.
You're welcome.
You have type 1 diabetes, correct?
Yes, sir.
So what do you have to do on a typical day having the disease?
Well, I get up in the morning and check my sugar, and then I normally have a snack between 9:30 and lunchtime, which is at 11:30, and then I check at supper and bolus using my pump, and then I check before I go to bed.
You said a pump. What is a pump?
It's like a glucose monitor, but it allows you to give amounts of insulin, and it will give you continuous doses of insulin, small amounts at a time, and you can bolus from it, which is basically like giving a shot, but you have a little infusion set in your body.
Okay, and what does the insulin do for you?
Well, it keeps your blood sugar under control from going high or low, and well,
Controls your blood sugar? And
Yep.
how do you check your blood sugar?
I use a meter, and I have pricked my fingers about 8 to 10 times a day.
Wow, 8 to 10 times a day. You know, that's probably more than some people have done in their lifetime, pricking their
Yeah.
finger. Is there anything else that you have to do different having diabetes?
Well, I don't think so.
And how fun was it for you to meet the governor today and for her to sign a proclamation for World Diabetes Day?
Amazing, mind blowing.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Will.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. And how old are you now?
13,
How old were you when you were diagnosed with type 1?
7.
So what do you have to do in a typical day having type 1 diabetes?
Check and treat.
Check and treat. So how do you check your diabetes?
I do a finger prick,
How many times do you think you prick your finger?
8 to 12.
And then to treat it, what do you do?
Use my insulin pump to give a dose of insulin.
And do you know what the insulin does?
No, not really.
So is the insulin a type of a cure for diabetes, or would you say it's more of a life support?
Life support. It's never going to be a cure in
Okay.
some way.
And how much does it mean for you to be here today and for the governor to sign a proclamation on World Diabetes Day?
Pretty good.
And the insulin pump that you have, how do you think that it prevents you from being a regular kid, or do you still get to do the things a regular kid can do?
I still get to do the regular things.
It means a lot for us to have the governor to read the proclamation today and give her support, as well as for our congressional leaders throughout the state to show their support and help us with funding for extra research and ultimately finding a cure.